Whoa. It's so big. Okay. Alright. Yeah. Don't know. Anyways. Well, I'm here today to share my testimony of all that the Lord has done in my life and just how I'm a different person than I used to be. How amazing God is. It's all God. It's nothing to do with me. Oh man. Okay. Well. All right. Well, I grew up in a Christian household. I grew up in youth group. Did a lot of things with youth group, and I got baptized when I think I was 11 at a CCYC concert, and Butch Scott was my youth minister, and he baptized me. It really moved me. I just remember just crying uncontrollably, and he baptized me. It wasn't that same day, but that's when the Spirit moved me. I remember it at CCYC, and I think it was Greensboro, North Carolina, and I don't know when it was, but it was at church, and I did go up in front of everybody and get baptized, and I was just crying so hard that I couldn't even talk or anything. God is so good. So from there, I was in youth group and stayed in youth group and, following God during, I started to get rebellious in middle school. I don't know, I guess just peer pressure, and I really don't know why I just started drifting away from the faith and, just taking part in things of the world. I mean, I wasn't I'm thinking it was 7th grade was when was my worst. I don't know. I just remember being very rebellious and not really considering God. I mean, I guess I was kind of even questioning if God was even there. I mean, I just didn't take him seriously. I just wanted to do what I wanted to do, and I wanted to fit in so bad. That's my whole life, is wanting to fit in so desperately that it's pathetic. Just painfully insecure my whole life. And anyway, so yeah. Then in high school, I was just really insecure. Really insecure in high school. I just wanted to be liked. I wanted to be popular, which I wasn't, and I never was. And I mean, I was so insecure, and I didn't know who I was, and I mean, I didn't have a lot of friends, and I didn't honestly really know how to be a good friend, I don't think. I don't know why. I was really just wrapped up in myself and so selfish and, so insecure that I was just constantly thinking about myself, how I look and just trying to impress everybody. And anyway, my whole life I've had really bad anxiety, super bad anxiety. And I had a heart condition. Well, I've had a heart condition since I was, I don't know, I was like 15, I think, when they first found it. They did the test, and they found out that I had this heart condition where my heart races. It's called POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. So, I went through lots of medicines and being sick a lot, and I missed a lot of school, and just really anxious a lot, and I didn't know who I was. I didn't know Jesus. I claimed I was a Christian, but I really didn't know Jesus, and just lost and looking for love. And I tried to find love in boyfriends, and it was like if I lost one, it was like, I was on to the next one, trying to find love and acceptance, I think, because I just really desperately needed that. And I wasn't getting it from God. I wasn't even, I don't know, taking God seriously. It's like I just didn't, and I don't know. I just compromised, and I think I just kept compromising until the Holy Spirit finally was just, quiet and quit trying to guide me and stuff, because I just kept not listening to him. So and just bear with me. I don't know, because I may start crying. I've got tissues with me. Okay, then always just super anxious and super insecure, and just wanting to be accepted by everybody. I could not stand rejection or any kind of even criticism. It just tore me apart because I took it personally, because I didn't know who I was in Christ. I was very lost, very lonely, very miserable, and very selfish because of that. I just was so wrapped up in myself. I tried everything to make myself feel better, and nothing ever did. I just would be more and more miserable. And so, all through high school, and I think even my early 20s, I never drank, never partied. Then I started dating a guy that really drank a lot, and I was always trying to please. So I started drinking because that's kind of like a lot of what he did. So we would drink together, and I guess that was my first introduction to alcohol. And that whole relationship, I drank mainly, I think, just to kind of share a common thing with him. And I didn't, well, I don't now, I'm sober, so, I can say, back then, dating him, I would say I didn't drink a whole lot, but it may be more than I'm thinking. But anyway, after we broke up, I was just so miserable, and he had, introduced me to the alcohol, and I had this horrible problem with anxiety. And so basically, I just started, a doctor said it not too long ago, self-medicating with alcohol. And it would calm me. It would, it would just make me feel good and take away all the pressures of life and the anxiety, the horrible anxiety that I suffered through. um, so, it wasn't long after that I met my husband, and so I'm already kind of on this. It's just kind of what I've learned. I was with this guy for 3 years. It was just kind of became a normal thing to drink. So, if I was nervous or if I was going to have something stressful, I would, drink to calm me down and to calm my nerves and just to help me relax and be loose, and so I could be actually fun to be around and not be an anxious mess to be around. And so met my husband, who wasn't my husband. We dated. I was kind of getting into the alcohol pretty bad. I don't think he realized how bad it was. He really didn't drink. He still doesn't drink. Praise Jesus. So I remember, and this is totally wrong too. And I just wasn't taking my faith seriously. I was just basically a mess. I just, I wasn't right with God. I didn't quite know what was wrong. Which is what's so scary, how deceived I was. And it's just so scary to me how I really didn't know what was wrong. I thought that I was just fine, drinking and basically kind of doing what I wanted, watching what I wanted. I still had convictions every now and then, and especially if like somebody said the Lord's name in vain or something, I just felt it, like, ugh, don't say that. But I really just compromised and gave in to the world, and just became mixed into the world, and I was miserable. And my husband and I, we moved in together. We weren't married. We weren't even engaged. I felt strong conviction about that because the Holy Spirit was still in me, and I just was like, I'm gonna do it anyway. I feel like this is right, people do it all the time. It's common now. It's what is it? With the 21st century, and it's fine. It's fine. We're in love, and we're gonna get married one day. So I kept trying to say that. I knew it was wrong, but anyway, we stayed in an apartment together, and my drinking got really bad. I started drinking hard liquor, like my favorite, I believe, was Crown Royal, and I was drinking a lot. I don't really remember, probably because I was so drunk the majority, of the time. But I was like a high functioning alcoholic. I don't know. I don't even know if I was an alcoholic then, but I was definitely getting there, and it's not funny at all. And I still don't think my husband realized how bad it was, because I would hide it. I would hide the containers and just wherever I would hide them. And I remember I really think that I almost killed myself one night with drinking. I really just drank a lot of, I don't even remember what it was, but it was hard liquor. And hold on one second, my little dog wants up. Come here, babe. Hey, sweetie. Alright, go in there, Mama. Okay. Yeah. I just, I had a, I mean, I was just so out of it that night. I mean, when I woke up, I felt like I had died. I've never felt like that before. I was so weak. I mean, and I had dreamed or had a, I don't know, vision. My grandpa, who has passed away, was there. And it was like through this glass barrier, and I was like on one side, and he was like on the other. And we talked like through the glass barrier, and I just remember he had a trench coat on, and I just remember us talking for a long time, um and I don't remember what was said. I just remember that. And then I remember waking up, and I mean, I just felt like something was way wrong. Like I felt like I had died. I mean, that's what I felt like. It was just I don't think I've ever felt like that before. So I knew from there that I could not drink that hard liquor anymore, but I still wanted the alcohol to help with my anxiety, um, just to help me, live and to escape. So it's probably around there that I turned to wine, because it's more acceptable, it's an acceptable alcohol. And um, so I started drinking wine, and I felt like it was fine. I mean, Jesus drank wine. Um, I felt like it was fine. And I mean, I would drink every night. I don't remember when it started. I would cook. And then I would drink wine. That was like one of my favorite things to do. I don't know why, but um, that's what I did for pretty much my whole relationship with my husband. And somewhere in the apartment, we were only in the apartment for a year, and when we were in the apartment, my husband did propose to me, and we got married just a few months later, September 23rd of 2012, and that was a good day. And um, you know, and I still just hit it. I really don't think my husband knew how bad it was. Um, anyway, so this just went on. And I don't know if it was from then or when it started, but I mean, I started drinking a bottle of wine at least, usually a night. I would pass out and wake up and just be so weak and get ready for work, and go to work. On the weekends, I would make sure that I had my wine. I would have those big, what were they, liters of wine. And I mean, I would start drinking at 9 or 10 in the morning, start sipping on wine, and I would drink all day, just sipping on it, but still I was getting drunker and drunker. And I just loved that feeling so much, and I just felt like I didn't have a care in the world, and I just wanted to escape from life. I mean, I didn't like who I was. It wasn't my husband's fault. It was internally, um, from not knowing who I was in Christ. And I still functioned, really well. I mean, this went on for a while where I would drink. I mean, if I went a day without drinking, it was really good. I would just think that, oh, I did really good. I didn't drink any wine yesterday. oh man, I'm gonna drink my wine today, and that was pretty much my attitude. I didn't see nothing with wrong with it. Um, and I was still in the Bible. I was still watching preaching. Going to church occasionally. I still was like, I'm a Christian, and um, and God would deal with me, and I'd kind of just be like, you know, I have to have that. I can't stop. It's nothing wrong with it. I can, I would always be like, okay, I won't drink so much. I'll just drink like a glass of wine, which never happened. But I always would say that, and I would mean it at the time. I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna just drink one, maybe two glasses of wine tonight. Just I mean that a lot of people do that at night, right? So I would always bargain with God. This went on. I don't even know how long. I could tell you it went on. So I started having problems. I started having problems with uh, ocular migraines, and I still have problems with those. Um, After I don't know how long I've been sober now. Um, Maybe a year. I'm not sure. Um, but it is a miracle of God that I'm sober. It is a miracle of God that I am sober. Um, because I was just falling deeper and deeper in a hole, and I started worrying that I was addicted, but I still wouldn't give it up because I just I liked the feeling. I was selfish. I felt like I earned it at the end of the day. Um, I mean, I don't know. And it helped my anxiety, but I was getting sick, and I was getting, with the ocular migraines, and I started having really bad stomach problems where, I mean, I could not control my bowels, and it was all due to the alcohol. And I even knew that in the back of my head, and I still kept drinking. And I mean, I was miserable, everywhere I went, I had to know where a toilet was because it would just hit, and it was like I couldn't, it was all I could do to stop it, and it was just really bad. And this probably went on for like a year, I guess, and I still kept on drinking like I was. And I mean, like I said, I was pretty high functioning. I worked. I even did this whole thing at work where um I lost like 32 pounds in like 8 weeks, I think. And I worked really hard, and I was drinking the whole time. And so, I mean, it appeared like I was just fine. And I even thought, I was like, well, I'm fine. I'm in shape. I'm exercising, and, you know, so, okay, I did the lost the weight thing, and, did fine, but I was drinking through all of that. Um, I mean, every night, every weekend. I mean, I couldn't do things because I'd be passed out drunk. I hid it all, tried my best to hide it from Niles. I mean, I would hide these wine bottles. I had big old box like in the back room, and I mean, all the back room has a lot of boxes in it, I mean, I would just hide them. I mean, even beer bottles. Sometimes this is, when it's getting totally bad, is like, I mean, Niles would have like little things of like moonshine on top of his cabinet or whatever. And then I would go like one weekend I was home, and I would go and drink the darn thing. And I'll be like, oh, I just want to take a sip. I would end up drinking like the whole thing, and I knew he'd get mad at me, so I'd fill it up with water and put it back. And I did that with the wine bottles. I would fill them up with water and put them in the fridge like they were, part full. You can't tell that I drunk that much. And I always like had it planned out where I would try my hardest to be as sober as possible when Niles would come home. and I knew that, I had to be sober. And then I would play games like, oh, honey, can I have some wine tonight? And, I mean, I think he knew it was bad, but he didn't know it was as bad as it was. And it was hurting me like it was. I mean, I was killing myself, basically. I mean, I already have a heart problem. And here I am just poisoning this body that God gave me health, and I'm just poisoning it because I don't want to face life, because I just want to escape, and I want to have that feeling, all the time, basically. And so anyway, I kept drinking, and it started becoming an issue between us. You know, it would cause fights, and we never really fought about drinking. And I was very protective over it, and then I would just try to hide it even more. And I was just like, I gotta get better at hiding it. And yet I still didn't think I had a problem. Um, I don't know. I don't know. That's what's so scary. I now being sober and listening to that and seeing that. I mean, oh my gosh, it's just Satan. It's just the devil, and he deceives you, and he blinds you, and he makes you a slave. And I was a slave to the alcohol. I mean, the alcohol became my god. You know, I could say I was a Christian, but I wasn't gonna give that up for anybody. I mean, I was gonna hide it. I mean, I wanted definitely to save my marriage, but I was gonna hide it and still have it because I felt like I needed it for my anxiety. I had to have it to get through this life. Okay. um, then this went on, me drinking every night, at least a whole bottle of wine, sometimes more than a bottle, passing out, either going to work the next day struggling, sometimes calling in sick because I was so sick I couldn't even go in. Um, then, okay. Um, well, I had this encounter um, just a few months before I got sick. I don't know if it was a dream. I don't know what it was, but it was like this demon was attacking me, and I don't know. I really don't know. It was absolutely awful. And I've done a video about that. It's on my YouTube if you want to watch it. So that really shook me up and made me realize that I didn't have faith because, basically I was put in darkness. It was pitch dark, and I knew that I was dead. And the only way I just knew, I don't know how I knew, to get out was through my faith in Christ. And I didn't know if I had that much faith. And I just thought I was going to die, and I didn't have the faith to be saved. And that was pretty life changing in a way. That was the start of something. Still drinking though, but then just a couple of months later, a lot of stressful stuff. A lot of stressful stuff happened during those next few months. That really really stressed me out to the max. Niles was in a motorcycle wreck. He's okay. And we had this whole beach trip planned that I had just been planning and pretty much made an idol in my life because I was like, nothing is going to keep me from this beach trip for a week at the Outer Banks. And I even made sure we had insurance to cover it because it was during hurricane season and stuff. And sure enough, we get there and we have to leave after one day because of Hurricane Maria. And I'm on the way home, all this, I'm like, we're fine, because I got insurance. I made sure that we had insurance, and we had the insurance before Maria was even a thing. I know that we're covered. I even called them when we got home to make sure everything was okay. And they said everything was fine. And they just told me, I think, to fill out some paperwork or something. So, anyway, long story short, they ended up denying our claim. And that was a whole big thing. So, we didn't get any money out of that. We lost every bit of the money for that trip that I had. I mean, I had scrimped and just, oh my goodness, I just wanted that trip so bad. And I feel like God just did that to me because I made it like an idol. I was like, I don't care what's happening, we're going on this trip. And I mean, he gave us an opportunity to get out because of Niles's motorcycle wreck. And we could have used that because Niles was still hurt. He was hurt, and I wanted to go so bad. He was like, okay, we'll go, because once he gets there, he could just relax and not do a whole lot. But we could have used that and gotten the money back and then gone at a better time. But no, I wanted to go. I wanted to go then. And so God took that from me, and I was just really stressed out. I mean, oh man, that stressed me out so bad. So, and then right at a month after that was October 30th, I do believe, 2017. Okay. That is when my life changed. Honestly, I hadn't, I mean, not that it matters, but I hadn't drank anything that evening. Shocker, but I hadn't drank anything that evening. And I remember I took two 325 milligram aspirin. I just popped them in my mouth. And I mean, almost instantly, I felt like I was like, something was way wrong. I mean, I could feel my heart flying, and it wasn't stopping. My heart was flying. And so I didn't know what was going on. I was like, I need to go to the ER. Something's very wrong. And I went and got Niles, and I don't think he believed me that I was that sick. And I was that sick. I was very sick. And so I ended up calling my mom and said, Mom, can you come get me? I need to go to the ER. I'm really sick. Please help me, Jesus. So my mom come and gets me. I don't think that I'm even going to make it. Like, my heart is just flying out of my chest. I don't know what has happened. It won't stop. It's just racing so fast. And by the time we get to the ER, I mean, I can't even get out of the car. I'm so weak. I mean, I just feel like I'm going to pass out. And I feel like I'm going to pass out and die, honestly, is what I felt like. And so Mom got me in a wheelchair, and from what I can remember, and got me up to the ER. And that was a whole nightmare because they wouldn't take me back. And I was sitting there, and I was so out of it. And I mean, I don't even know if I've ever been to the ER before. And they just kept telling me to sit there and wait. And I was so out of it. I was just like, Mama, I can't, Mama. I'm gonna pass out. I don't know if I'm gonna make it. And I mean, my heart was just flying. And I mean, I knew I had a thing on my phone, and I was so weak. And I didn't have much longer, or I was going to be passed out, or I don't know, die. I don't know. Um, but I knew I didn't have much longer. And we had been there for, I don't know, we ended up being in the waiting room for like 2-3 hours overall. And well, that's the entire time that lapsed from when my mom first got me. It was over 3 hours that my heart raced like this. So I finally got, I knew I had that app on my phone, and where it like it checks your finger or something. And I went up to I had mom like wheel me up to the desk, and I was just like, please, I was just like holding my finger on my phone. I was like, I wanted to just show her my heart rate and what it was, because I knew something major was wrong. And it finally did. And it was like, I don't even remember. It was like 160 something around there. And I mean, I'd been sitting there for 2 hours. And I mean, I was so weak. I was just about to fall on the floor. And I mean, I really thought that was it. You know, it was very life changing for me. And that started, I finally got back, and um, they ended up pumping me full of Ativan, which did, I mean, even with that and with a bunch of, I think they gave me a bunch of fluids, and I think my potassium was off. Um, Even with that, it was still like in the 120, 130 range. Um, but I was just so happy that it was down, and I think the Ativan helped to calm me down. And so that was the beginning of when I became very, very sick. And I was very, very sick for several months with my heart racing like that. And I mean, I couldn't do anything. I mean, and I couldn't drink. And so then, because I couldn't drink, I mean, there was no way I could drink. I couldn't even function. So, oh, and I forgot to mention that, I had that encounter thing, or whatever it was, dream or whatever. And then not long after that, I was in my car, and I was um, arguing, I guess, bargaining with God about the wine. He was dealing with me. And I just felt him so strong say, you know, if you won't quit, I'm going to make you quit. And I mean, it startled me. I was like, whoa, okay, where did that come from? And I was like, okay, that was pretty definite. Um, and then it was not long after that this happened. And so I went through